Welcome to
Block.
Triple Blockheads,
Back set. Block down.
the podcast for all things volleyball.
Blockhead!
Aloha and welcome to another episode of Triple Blockheads. Frank, Mark, Makani here. And we get a lot of discussion around like how volleyball, you need multiple players. You need a net. You need, a partner to continue to work on your skills. And I thought it'd be interesting that if we got an episode to talk about what are things you can just do at home. The more opportunities you can have to hone in on your skills, improve your technique, touch the ball a little bit, or even just use your footwork, you're going to be a better player. I think it's simple when you talk about basketball, right? Hey, I'm going to go and get a ball. I have a hoop that my mom and dad set up, and I'm going to go shoot hoops. Simple. But I think volleyball players sometimes struggle with, what can I do at home to continue my development? So, Frank, what are some of the things that you tell your club teams or club players, or what are things that you've done in your past to help hone in at home?
Yeah, I think the first thing I envision when I think about at-home training is I think about my backyard and all the different things around my driveway that had a volleyball touch it throughout my prep career growing up, figuring out the sport, trying to, just being outside. I was always outside the house, making up some sort of game. I was the basketball kid, so I had a basketball hoop in my backyard. I think the first thing I ever did with the volleyball was try to set the ball into the hoop. And I would try to do it from close up, and then I'd try to do it from the free throw line and the three-point line. How far could I get and try to make it? And then as I actually started learning what a one ball was for the first time, I was like, oh, that's kind of like me setting the ball in the hoop from really close, and what that connection might be. I didn't have anyone touching 10 feet yet as a teammate, but you could lower the hoop, right? I had one of those. My hoop was janky where you just pulled the pin out and the whole thing fell down, so you had to be careful not to break your finger. But I think about the wall that was right next to the driveway. The wall was actually someone else's house, so I remember all the different volleyballs that I would hit down balls into or hit serves against to, and hoping someone still didn't live there. And if they did live there, they were coming out telling me to stop. I had
hoping it was a vacant house.
Well, it was vacant, but you never knew if someone had moved in. I think it was a rental property. On the other side of that house was our garage, and it had a slanted roof. And I remember throwing a ball up there and not being able to see the ball, and then wait for it to come down so I can go react and dig it, and just making up different things that I thought were beneficial to when my next practice was. And so I think that's the biggest thing I'll tell my kids now is what do you have around you? And if you don't have those things in your backyard, if you're, limited by that, is there a park nearby? Is there some sort of public place you can go to where maybe you can, do something like that? So that's the first thing that I envision. But I had a ball. So, if you don't have a ball, I think things get a little bit trickier. But if you can get a ball, then definitely try and get a ball. I think I was setting basketballs because I thought that was beneficial for me. But then once I got my hands on a volleyball or bought a ball, probably stole a ball from my high school gym or something.
Or club.
Or club gym. I was trying to, do whatever I could in the backyard to create different situations, create different reactions, create different targets for myself. That's the first thing I think of.
I think the key word through all that is create. Mm-hmm. You got to be creative whenever you don't have a traditional net setup, right? I'm not in a gym and have a net and a cart of balls and other training toys. So how can I be creative through that? And I think thinking about the game a little bit more intentionally is a good way to start. So how does this thing that I'm going to do translate to setting in the same way that setting close into a lowered basketball hoop is like setting ones, right? How do we draw these parallels between sports that are really, really important to feel like you're getting benefit from your non-traditional volleyball training? But I think we're to a point now with our sport that kids are playing organized and structured so early that they're just always being told what to do and how to do it. And we've lost a little bit of that just go out and play and figure it out and be creative and find ways to improve. So I like to try and reaffirm that piece. Like, you don't need a ball, but it'd be good if you had one. But you can do stuff without a ball. If you only have a ball and your surroundings, how can we create volleyball actions off of those things? Really, really important.
So let's start with if you didn't have a ball, what are some of the things that can translate from just being at home to the court to help better prepare yourself for the next training or the next match?
Well, if I didn't have a ball and I was growing up today, the one thing that I would be on consistently is YouTube and watching volleyball. I feel like when I was growing up, it was so hard to find good volleyball and be able to watch a full match. It's like, where do I find this stuff at? I was like so cool during the Olympics when it'd finally be on national TV, and that's when like you got to watch so many matches. But yeah, I'd be on YouTube just watching the people and trying to model their playing styles and figure out what kind of setting techniques I thought were cool and maybe try to model that. So that's the most accessible thing I think someone can do every night before you go to bed. Just watch maybe a set of volleyball, international volleyball or college volleyball.
And when you're watching, pick out your position, right? Try and get your eyes off the ball as much as possible. And we'll talk about that and how to watch film.
Yeah.
But I think that is huge. Like, find that player you're trying to model your approach after, your arm prep, whatever it is, whatever skill you are trying to do. And then everybody has cell phones. So let's record ourselves making some of those moves, going through the approach. And then you can compare between, like, how do these look different? How are they the same? So even without a ball, we can still improve if we're comparing ourselves to Sports Idol A or whatever. You know what I mean? In the same way that I did growing up, like, I'd watch Michael Jordan hit this shot off the dribble. I'm going to go practice that shot off the dribble 20 times and try and do the same thing, right? It's the same.
See Mark with his tongue
same,
out
same.
all day.
Oh, all day. All day. Just constantly dry from being out of my mouth. But I think that's really important. And I think as you kind of continue to progress and think about the game as a whole, and I think without a ball, you can really focus on flow of the game is what comes to mind. So if you think about the game of volleyball, you're only touching the ball, physically making contact with the ball less than 1% of the time. It's all about how you're moving, positioning yourselves, the efficiency from getting to point A to point B. That becomes the most important elements of volleyball. Obviously, you need the touches to be clean, but that's such a small percentage. Can we put some attention elsewhere? So the things I think about, block footwork, I can work through any kind of my block footwork patterns that we've talked about, our swing block, our shuffle, our non-traditional. Defensively, I can be in base and hit a release. And I think a huge benefit, both for training at home and in person, is virtual play. Mm-hmm. So we do this in the gym sometimes. It's something I really like because the girls are uncomfortable with it. But we'll play virtual volleyball, and I'll take a volleyball and be like, hey, I'm going to hit this in. What color is this ball? You know what I mean? And I'm waiting for a girl to be like, that's an orange and white volleyball, very clearly. I'm like, yeah, it is. You're right, orange and white. And then we're going to enter that. I'm going to chip it in, and they're going to pass, and they're working on angle and making sure it goes. And then same thing when we're working on defense. What am I seeing from that hitter? Are they going up and cutting? Like, look at that wrist. You don't have a ball in the way right now. So what information are we getting? You can do all of that stuff through virtual reps. So if I'm by myself, I'm going to practice my left back defense. I'm going to sit at base. All right, pass came up. It's off the net. Okay, maybe I'm releasing because setter can't dump. Now they're going to kick out to that out-of-system swing. Where do I go in my out-of-system defense? Now I'm releasing a little bit deeper towards that corner. Oh, she hit to my left. I got to make a dig move back to my left, and I'm going to dig that ball up. Now what's next? Okay, I got to go cover because we just set the middle because I dug a dime. You know what I mean? So put yourself in very specific game-like situations and let that flow kind of happen. And that's more benefit than you probably imagine. It's hard to do, to keep yourself focused on a play as it goes and goes and goes. But if you can do that, you're training your body to do the right things before you actually see those things happen in gym situation. There's an interesting story about this old prisoner of war who is in, these are not going to be the exact specific details, so don't at me for this. But, he was locked in a cage for, I don't know, a couple months, something like that. And in his head, he would play his like home golf course. Not big golfer before, but he would virtually go through each shot, and it went this way. How do I adjust? Whatever. After he returned home, he went and played that course and shot like way better than he ever had in his life, just from getting all these virtual reps, putting yourselves in different scenarios. And if your brain thinks that it's happening, you get all the benefit that comes with it. So don't discount the virtual aspect and how much benefit it can bring to you.
It helps you visualize in the court, right? It not just helps you create from muscle memory, but it also helps you visualize, hey, I've already thought about these scenarios, and now I'm seeing it live. It actually easier.
It should slow it down for you.
Right.
Right.
I'm 100% doing virtual coaching tonight.
Do it. It's my favorite to watch and be like, what? And then after a little bit, they'll see the block doesn't line up right, and a kid will like, behind the ball. That kills them. Like, definitely got
I'm
blown
doing
up.
virtual coaching for myself. Like me working on standing up off the bench and calling a play. And
should I call timeout here? What's the situation? The other thing around training that if you don't have a ball is just conditioning yourself. Not just physical conditioning, yes, that's important, but also conditioning in those movements, right? I like having positions and moves and just holding and really like almost like getting your body to really feel that drop in your shoulder, or whether if you're a setter, how am I against the wall? How can I get my hands in the spot and really kind of put a little bit of tension there? Because when you let it loose, that you remember that tension part of it, and you're game conditioning yourself to feel that even without the ball.
I agree. There's a lot of like technical benefits to putting yourselves into different digging positions, different body positions, like where's my weight, how's it transferring. I think all of that is super useful. You don't need a ball, but throughout play, you're putting your body into all of these different unbalanced positions. What do those feel like? How can I make that same move and maybe be a bit stronger through the base? I think all of that is important, and you can be on the grass working on any of that without a ball, without anything. Just feel it, see, like visualize, and then go do it. I think a note on that conditioning piece, volleyball is like a strange sport in that most rallies are 30 seconds or less, but the work rate you'll have to do in that 30 seconds can be pretty intense. So can I start at the net? Can I transition a block? Can I transition off the net? Can I transition to off block? I'm probably going to put myself through a 30-second, 45-second work rate and do that a bunch of times to make sure I'm ready to go from a volleyball-specific conditioning. I'd make sure I'm jumping through each of those, because that's what distinguishes our sport from others, is you're in the air through most of your contacts.
The interval training and then being able to then regroup and then do it again, I think that's what makes volleyball unique, right? Is that, I mean, it's, I guess similar to football, right? There's a burst of play, and then there's a break, and then there's another burst of play. And I think that those that can train themselves to effectively work through the conditioning part of it, active play, mentally reset and understand what's coming next, and then immerse themselves again and be able to continuously do that, are the ones that are going to be successful. And you can do that without a ball. You can do it with the ball. You can do it during training. But I think that practice of going through that interval, I think is really important. Let's talk about if you had a ball, any kind of ball, right? What can we use a ball to train ourselves at home?
I love any ball, because literally any kind of ball can be used for some sort of benefit, whether it's a football, a volleyball, a basketball, tennis balls, mini volleyballs, whatever. They all can serve a purpose for you. It's about being creative and how you want to do it. So if I have a football, I'm throwing the football to a target and I'm working on my swing mechanics without really even thinking about it. And we've kind of broke that down in another episode. But like, I would even try setting footballs, because they're weird shaped and I have to be really intentional with my hands and how I do things. You know what I mean? So I'm not one to believe that like volleyball has to teach volleyball. Like other sports teach volleyball, and other body movements, body mechanics, those all teach volleyball too. So how are you being creative through that whole piece? But if you have mini balls, that's a great thing I like for hand contact work. Also, platform work, like I'd pass a mini ball up against a wall continuously because any inefficiency in my platform is going to get magnified by the fact that this ball is tiny. It's going to kick off one arm. I'm going to shank more, but you can improve hand contact through working through some mini ball stuff. If I have basketballs, right, we can set them exactly the same as normal volleyballs. We get a little extra weight, so I'm getting a little bit of wrist strengthening action, a little bit more than we would with a traditional volleyball, but we can do that. I probably wouldn't pass or serve basketball too much, but if I'm going to work on setting, I think that's a good way to do it. If you have an actual volleyball, now we kind of open up a little bit more. I would still work on my hand contact stuff. I would still work on my platform angle stuff. But now we can do a little bit more things, less, I guess, specific to that one skill that you're trying to improve.
Yeah, I think, they're tennis balls and using how you can your different wrist angles. I also like those geometrically
Like the
reaction balls.
Yeah, that'll bounce.
I love those.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to either you drop it on the ground and react. Anything you can do to continue to see your eye-hand coordination or your anticipatory reaction time, I think is really important. But I think as you get into a volleyball, I mean, Frank said it, and throwing up against the roof and being able to touch the ball, I think, is something that you can always do. Getting maybe a little bit more creative if you have someone who is handy or, know someone who's handy. From a setter perspective, you can get a lot of reps on your own with a ball and something that is propped up at an angle.
Yep.
Where you can practice your arm swing, you can get it back to you, and you can then focus on your footwork. You can square up, you can have delivery, tempo, you can work all those different things just by having a ball. And even if just you had a table with no legs, you can prop that up on something else, on a fulcrum, and go ahead and go at it.
Yeah, I think even beyond just the having the angle is great, but you can bounce a ball and get all of the footwork work that you want in. You can just throw it high and let it bounce. Either of those things, I think, add a little bit of variation and a little bit more game-like timing. I think if you have a basketball goal and a volleyball, you can become as good a setter as anybody that spends hours in the gym. Now your hitting window is going to be exactly the same, maybe not, but as far as getting feet to ball, getting hands on the ball, getting square where you want to, all of those things can happen without a net, and you just need a ball in a flat space that preferably would bounce a ball somewhere in the air. And maybe even not that flat. Like if we're bouncing on grass and it kicks a little to the left, now we're working on some out-of-system react stuff where I'm going to put platforms on it. I think that's good too. So I don't think there's a right or wrong to most of these. You know what I mean? As long as we're being intentional with what we're trying to get out of it, I think you'll get what you get out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we many times have a friend who can come over and you can do something without a net, and you have a volleyball, and now you have a partner. What are some of the things that, obviously there's a lot of partner digging and things like that that are pretty obvious, but what are some things that we can do with a partner without a net at home that really kind of also then take that to the next level, right? We're kind of progressing here. You don't have a ball. What can you do? You have a ball, but you're by yourself. Now you're at home. You don't have a court, but you have a friend.
I think before we get to a one-on-one type of play situation, which is ultimately what I would do if I have a friend, I'm going to string up some sort of net and we're going to play. Before we get to that point, I think one thing that we can work on a lot is block lineup, something that we've talked about and a really important aspect to youth block training. You can do that without a ball or a net. They can approach at a direction. You can work on getting in front of that path. That's a thing that we can do all the time.
And if you're a basketball player, you're just taking charges.
Exactly. It's exactly the same. I think there's a lot of pass angle work they can do tip stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't just have to be them hitting balls at you and getting dig work, but that works too. I think a fun one, if you have a wall and a ball and a partner, is your partner stands behind you and they're going to serve at the wall. And then you have the time that it hits the wall back basically to react and form an angle and try and dig it maybe to a specific spot, or maybe that spot is somewhere non-traditional, right? What you're teaching at that point is angle mastery more than passing to one specific spot, which I would argue is more beneficial in the long run and in terms of your motor learning perspective.
Yeah.
It's definitely more transferable, right? I mean, the more tools you have and the more ability, the ability you have to really set that angle and put it wherever you want, the better.
Yes.
And I think if that friend doesn't have a lot of volleyball experience, I think kids are less likely to want to try certain things. But I still think there's a lot to gain from someone who can't totally make great hand contact and hitting down balls, right? Like, let's go work on trying to dig a ball where really no one knows where it's going, right? Even the person hitting it. Like, that's all really good stuff, too. Or, like, if you're with a parent who maybe isn't a great passer, right? Like, let's use those opportunities to react or read your parents' platform. Can you see where they're about to pass it, even if they're not totally going back to you?
Can you tell where they're about to shank this ball?
Can you tell?
And get to it.
There's something good. Important. There's something good out of it, for sure.
For sure. The unpredictability of unskilled is maybe mean, but unskilled partners is totally beneficial.
Don't let that stop you. Don't let it stop you.
And it should be an encouragement, right? And if you get somebody to help train you in whatever capacity, whether they know about volleyball or not, like, take their help. Because it's easier with more people.
And once you involve a net and they're trying to set you, like, let's go work on hitting bad sets, right? That's we're on the pursuit of greatness. You're gonna have to be good at hitting bad sets.
Facts.
I think I don't want to forget about the comment you made about parents, because I think sometimes you have parents who don't have volley experience. That's a really great opportunity for you to learn the game, and also a great opportunity for your athlete to tell them what they are looking to do. Right? Some things are very simple. Here, toss the ball. Everyone can toss the ball, right? So in those situations, just as an athlete, tell your parent what you want. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to the ball, get my feet to the ball, to set the ball. I just need you to toss the ball in the air 10, 15 feet, anywhere in that range. Cool. Now, the parent's learning a little bit more of what they're trying to do that's transferable to how they're reacting in a competitive setting, and they're encouraging their player because they're now invested in some of that training and conditioning themselves, right? And I think that strengthens that bond as well between athlete and parent, which I think is really important as they continue to develop.
Nailed it. I think that's super, super important. And also, then you get to be a parent having fun with your kid outside, doing playing something that they care about. You know what I mean? You're invested more in their process at that point. And you feel like not just the chauffeur that takes them from tournament to tournament and brings them food and fills up their water bottle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're that and
you still do all that. That's for sure. Yeah, that's still a thing. But you also get to train at home with them, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Connie, what'd you do growing up in Hawaii?
Man,
playing at home.
A lot of coconuts. Serving coconuts.
That's so culturally insensitive.
You're right. My bad.
Just joking. Honestly, I think playing beach.
Yeah.
And again, being on the beach just in general, I think is just a huge value. And it doesn't have to be an actual beach. It could just be any sand court that's at a park, right? But by yourself, you can do a lot of things that will help you on the court. Everything you do in the sand will make it easier for how you feel on the court.
Oh, by a million.
I'm going to throw in there, it's also way more forgiving than sport court on concrete. So, like, if you have an opportunity to get some reps or private lessons or whatever on sand, I would mix that in rather than being on the court every single day. We've talked a lot about overuse injury. As you continue to train. Training in sand is a great way to mitigate a lot of those impacts.
The elements are out there too, right? So if you have a partner and someone's serving at you, passing outside heightens your focus on where the ball is going, heightens your focus on your angle, heightens bringing the ball all the way into your platform. You have to be that much more in tune because there's variables that you don't have inside.
Yeah, like wind.
Like the wind, exact, or the sun. Things that are there.
Unless you pick side like Frank, then the sun is not a factor.
You're telling me that's not Like, I mean, come on. If you're on the beach,
Oh,
Side on the beach. Yeah, that's why they switch every 7 points.
side on the
Have
beach
to.
is absolutely the factor.
it's not that crazy to switch indoor. The same thing.
Yeah, same thing. The wind
Convention
and
center
the
is
sun.
typically dark.
The convention center has 20 suns in there. Lights.
Oh, right.
If your setter can't see the ball,
Oh, that's a different story.
Yeah, anyways,
that's a whole
sorry.
different story. But I don't even know where to go from there.
I got a couple game ideas for outside if you think these would be good.
Yeah, let's see it.
If you can dig a wrench, can you dig a ball?
What's the game?
That's the game.
Explain it.
Like you're trying to put your platform
It's more of
on
a
wrench?
it's more of a dodgeball joke, but
I like it.
can you play dodgeball, but you have to get hit by the ball on purpose instead of dodging the ball?
So they're trying to throw it away from you, and you're trying to get hit?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you could say you have to you have to have a first contact then a catch.
That's a good game, right? That's transferable.
Yeah.
I like that.
Setting eggs back and forth,
Eggs.
like actual eggs. So if you drop it, the egg breaks on you. Like pressure setting,
Or if you
setting under pressure.
have too stiff of hands,
Yeah,
it'll
that too.
break on
Yeah.
you.
Setting an egg.
That's definitely transfer. I would say even just the old cookout egg toss, the long toss, just the whole
Just setting it instead of catching it,
that would be really hard.
or a set into a catch or something. I
Have
mean,
any of these been tried?
no, these are all just ideas I came up with right now.
You try the egg one first.
Yeah, you do the egg first. man.
Let us know how that goes.
Well, you get a little shaky on game point setting. You don't want to screw it up. But if you can set an egg, you can set a ball.
That's fair.
That's my idea with you. If you can dig a
You can
wrench,
dig a wrench.
You can dig a wrench. You can dig a ball.
Yeah. I think it's creative.
Dodgeball is probably the most
not.
potential.
I
like the dodgeball.
I like the dodgeball game. I
Yeah.
think that has some merit.
I think
for
you need to
sure.
do it in a small space, though.
Yeah, I mean almost like a volleyball.
We should talk about volleyball.
I love volleyball.
I don't think people know what volleyball is.
Seriously?
I mean, I didn't know about volleyball until I got to school in Iowa.
Yeah, I was in college and it was an intramural, and I was like, "What's this?"
Growing up in
Yes, I
California,
will.
I did not know about volleyball. Do you know about volleyball in Hawaii?
Actually, no. To be fair, no, I didn't until I went to school here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a blast.
You want to try to explain it?
I mean, you have a net, and you're kind of in like a racquetball
Racquetball
court.
Yeah.
That's how
And
I played. But
you can basically use your angles, and you can use the wall to bring that ball back into play.
There's no out of bounds, pretty much, right?
So it's only out of bounds if you hit multiple walls
Or the
in
end
a
line
row.
first,
So yeah, or the end line.
or in wall first.
In wall first. That's right. So if you're gonna chop off the wall, it has to go wall to ground. It can't go wall. That's out of bounds, or wall end wall. That's out of bounds. But other than that, it's pretty much just volleyball. And then occasionally you'll just be like, "Ch-ch-ch."
Yeah, it's a great game.
It's kind of fun.
It's really fun.
Different way to think about strategy. Different way to think about competing. How to avoid block, use vision, get a little geometry in there too. It's all pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's another real good way of. I mean, it's not necessarily at home, but non-typical on court,
Non-traditional
volleyball.
play,
Yeah.
I think a big one, like indoor, any kind of net system that you can do indoor down, like if you have a basement, you can play Nerf volleyball, like singles, doubles. That's always super fun. Even from like a ping pong table perspective, you can do some one bounce stuff, playing around a ping pong table. But yeah, find what you have and create a game out of it. That was my childhood. It's like walk outside. What do I have available?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I got some dirt. I got some rocks over here, and I got these two balls. All right, let's come up with a game of what we're going to play with these dirt and rocks and balls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And sometimes you just create something that your family and for years. I mean, shout out to the Lynches. They have the floor volleyball tournaments and things that they have
Every
are
year.
epic.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely
That's cool.
epic.
Yeah. And that was the inspiration for the basement Nerf volleyball.
That's
That's how they play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, this is a great episode. This was a fun one. I think that the moral of the story is you can train, you can get involved, and you can still kind of bring volleyball into your home. No matter if you are by yourself, you have a ball, if you have a friend, if you have a parent, it doesn't matter. There are ways if you're creative in doing so. But be intentional. Be intentional with what you're trying to do. And if you're out there from the National Volleyball Association and need 3 spokespeople,
Yo,
these
hit
are
us up. Hit us up.
holla
We
at
will
the boy.
literally change our logo.
We'll just put a box around it. And it'll be. It's now the volleyball triple blockheads.
Fantastic.
One of us bouncing off a wall.
Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Go ahead and hit us up at our socials at Triple Blockhead. And until next time, it was fun, fellas. Blockheads. Blockheads.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Triple Blockheads. Make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode.